Hello everyone, bdbssb here today. We are going to hopefully not have to worry about that popping up too much today, but what we're going to do is we're going to show you how I took the units I have with the windrowers and removed them, or made them an option, not completely removed them, but made them an option to have a windrower or not. To give you a background of it, if you're not familiar with these units, I have a loading wagon, the big baler, and this guy here that has the windrows, and I had added the NovaCat to my website, so I did not realize, I don't play the game enough, I do too much editing to know it, but this cross flow will not attach to that. I did not know that, or the FS19 version will. So I took the FS19 version and just added the cross flow to it where it swaths. So once I did that, there really wasn't a huge need for the windrowers if you're going to mow and bale at the same time. But anyway, this, if you're not familiar with it, get back to what I was talking about. What it is, it's actually just windrowers that throw the material into the center so that you can bale away. So again, I'm going to show you how that you can remove that. Let's get out of here. Something else I suggest, if you guys have not done this, I should do a separate video on this. But I figured I'd throw it in here. If you're going to test mods or edit mods, mess with them, or if you're having issues, please use a mod folder selector. If you don't have a program, I know DodgeNet has one. I'm not sure the group he's with now, what the name of is. I apologize. And there's a FS22 dashboard. They do some pretty cool stuff, but for no more than what I want to do, I just want to simply get my game settings and a log. So what I do is I just did a folder and added shortcuts into this folder right on my desktop. It literally has my game settings and the log file. Like I said, the biggest thing, guys, is log. I know some of you know it, some of you don't. But open your log if you're having issues. Control F to search and just simply hit warning. Now, warning's not a big one. Things will function, but it can cause other issues. Obviously, this is just telling me I don't have the folder zipped for multiplayer. And that's just an in-game warning that is, I believe, on almost every single in-game map. I'm not sure about modded maps. So, the number one thing you need to look for is error. Oops, if I can spell. I don't have any errors, which obviously I'm just using a minimum mod folder right now anyway, like I was saying, and that is, let's see if we can find it. I just use my OneDrive, and if we swing on down, I just call it min mods, and I simply just have the easy dev controls and the baler we're messing with right now. So I guess to show you how I do that, obviously logs and game settings are in the same area, but you can usually have your folder down here, your Explorer. I just right click and go to documents, but also you could come up to this PC, and usually your documents are going to show here as well, and usually your save games are my games, Farming Simulator 22. Let's get rid of that, and here's the folder I was talking about. And then you would simply just drag, or I should say right click and drag log. Make sure you hit create shortcut here. Don't move, don't copy. Do create shortcut here, and you'd simply just have a copy or a shortcut to your log file. The same goes with the game settings. I want to come in here and grab the game settings, right click, drag over, copy or create shortcut here. And what we're going to show you here is you just simply open that settings up. Mods directory override, you want active true, it'll be default false, and then you would simply put your folder name or directory here. So I would, there's a couple of ways you can do it. I usually just open up where I want to go, and I would simply go min mods, and then you can simply, if you right click here, copy address, and then if you just want to come down here, because you'll have to change, see, and I don't know which one's backslash, forward slash, I'm going to be honest with you, but for some reason Farming Simulator always uses the non-Windows slash, put it that way. But that'll get you exactly what you need. You just have to switch it to the opposite slash. Once you have your directory set up, if you're always going to use your OneDrive, then all you have to do is simply come in and you would grab the actual folder. So if I wanted to run this, like this is my Westbridge, I Control C, double click here, Control V, like so. But we're going to use the bin mods right now. So let's go ahead and put that back in, delete that line, and you would just simply save. So I just wanted to show you that because, like I said, I've had a lot of people come in there either having troubles editing their own mod or using a mod, say, off my website, and they're having warnings and issues and errors, and I start asking questions, come find out they have a mod conflict. So it's not even something they're doing or something from my website, it's another mod they have an issue with. So that's a way to get rid of those issues. So back to what we're actually doing here. We're going to start removing those windrowers, or giving the option to remove them. What I always like to do to keep up on my changes is I actually go in and change the mod to script version number, or I should say the version number of the mod. Now what I've been doing is using a universal date for my version number. I know Giants doesn't like it when I've submitted mods in the past, but I don't just like simple numbers because you have no idea what it's from, what was done. So I put the day, I put the month, and I put the year, and then what version you're at on that day. Simple as that. It just works for me. I'm sure there's reasons for it, but you know what? This is how I do it. So anyhow, in the mod to script, what I did to do as well, just to give you, I'm going to cheat a little bit to get some of these functions. Let's get rid of some of these folders as well. I just pulled over one of the units that I already edited. It's another baler, so it's going to make it a little easier. If you don't want to have to download any of my junk, and you want to just go, okay, where can I find this file to do the same thing? For an example, if you just go into FS22 data vehicles, I believe it is this brand here, and it's the ASW271. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. And you simply scroll down. You're going to have configuration sets is what we're going to mess with, and vehicle type configuration. So you get a little bit of an idea how to mess with these on what I'm showing today as well. So that's kind of a plus. You're getting, I guess, 3 birds with 1 stone, as they would say. So because we're going to add the option to remove the windrowers, and we're going to actually show how to use these configurations. Alright, so back to what I was trying to do. So yeah, we have date, month, year, and the version for the day. And I usually just started at 01, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the mod to script. You know what? No, let's go back to this, and because that way we'll be working with the flow. It's kind of working backwards if I start with the mod to script. So we're going to scroll on down. I want to find a spot to put the actual config set. So let's go vehicle. In fact, what I want to do as well is I want to go ahead and add the V, and I change the vehicle type to a different. I basically made my own vehicle type. I'm going to go ahead and switch this back to baler now before I forget. I think you could leave it to the original, but I like to put it back to the default from the start. And then we're going to swing. I know the most important thing that we're messing with here on this vehicle is the work areas. So I'm going to go right above the work areas to start my work here. Yeah, work areas is what I did on this unit as well. And I'm just going to simply copy this whole section for now, and then I'll go through it to explain what I'm doing. But we will go into here, in home, paste that in. So all we're doing is, to start off, vehicle type config is we are switching from a baler or to a baler windrower. In fact, I'm going to call this baler. I don't like using the same name. I did that on my other one, but I got to thinking, if you have 2 different units that are using the same vehicle type coming from 2 different mod scripts, you might have some issues. So I'm going to call this one baler IMP for the Impress windrower. I just feel like it's a better way to do it. That way you're making an additional vehicle type. Baler's default, so no big issues there. And then we're going to do the same thing down here. We're going to do windrow. I'm just going to again add IMP system config. We'll do the same thing. We'll go windrow IMP, no windrow IMP, and we'll add these into the mod script like I was getting ready to show ahead of time. But again, it's changing your vehicle configurations, your different types, and then here it's going to do a configuration set, so it's actually going to remove visibilities. I can do that here, as well as tell it, hey, we want to look at this work area, this folding config, this AI, and I'm not going to use AI in this one. I'll explain that later. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that, and then it's saying, hey, on the windrow system, we're going to use vehicle type 1. It's just indexing the first vehicle type config. And on the no windrow, we're going to look at vehicle type 2, which is baler. So let's go right into the mod script and show what we added for that. So function BD windrower, that's another thing I should probably change as well. Let's go IMP, and we'll just copy this, come up here, oops, I already messed that up as well. Function, paste that in. Okay. For vehicle types, we get back to where we were. Okay. Mod script, mod script. So that's okay. On fold and fold. I could get through. I could do the same theory on them as well, but I'm not going to mess with them. I'm just, in theory, I think you're better off having different callbacks, because it's looking at different mod scripts if you have identical callbacks. So we're going to come down and we're going to simply copy, because we want config. As you can see, we have windrowing system, windrow, and no windrow. So we need to have the callbacks for those. So I'm going to go, there's the no windrow, that's the windrow, and that's the system. So we're going to simply copy those into this mod script, like so. And we need to do the same here. We need to go, here is your windrow system, copy, so there's your system, paste. We need the windrow option, so there's the windrow, paste, and then we want the no windrow option. I already have the German and the French. I don't know if they're correct, but I do have the translations here. So that takes care of the mod script file, I do believe. Let's go ahead and save that, close it out, that way it doesn't cause us any accidental issues as well. And then we're going to kind of work through this one step at a time. So basically what it's doing is it's looking at the work area section, the configuration. Now, as default, most equipment doesn't have a configuration for work areas. So I'm going to cheat here, and I'm going to first off grab this work area configuration start on the tag. So we're going to hit we're going to copy him, come down from work areas, paste it, and that gives us the actual option to use work configuration in work areas. Then we're also going to come in here and grab the configuration line, copy, and paste that in. Now I want to make this look correct on the XML as far as a layout. So I don't know if you guys are familiar, but if you take and you actually hold Shift Control Alt and click in front of the areas you want to move all together, you can see how it's adding the full line there. You can select things this way as well. I'm going to hit Tab to move it over one, I'm going to hit tab one more to move it over an additional, so that way now we actually are working in the correct format. We're not having work area over on the outside of the parent, I guess you'd call it. I don't know what the correct term for XML is, but I would kind of call it a parent. Now what this is doing is on the work area 1, it's going to tell the game that working with, in fact, let's go ahead and come up to working with. Somewhere in here I do have working with, I do believe. Unless I didn't add it to this one. And it may be. I may have forgotten. That's just the bale types. So yeah, it does not look like I actually had working with. Usually, I'm pretty sure on this guy I disabled it. Yeah, working with was 20. So I didn't have it on this guy, but that's where you would normally have your working with. But we're going to add that in where it should be, in the work area. So yeah, on the work area config, you want to make sure that's correct, which I'm pretty sure I use the same windrower for all my units. So working with is 20, and if you want to add an additional price, we can do that, just because we'll just put 1,000. Everything else will stay the same on this first section, but we do want to scroll on down to the end of the first work area, and we're going to copy work area configuration, come below this work area, oops, paste that in, and then we want to make sure we grab our new work area configuration, which we're going to make 3. Control C. Go ahead and jump down a line, paste it in. So now we have a new work area configuration with a working width of 3. It's going to be baler still can't talk. You want to make sure your work areas are correct for whatever you're doing, I guess, but it is process baler area, disable backwards false. And then I am going to change one thing here. What I did in this other unit is that I actually made as an additional work area, but I'm going to move it instead. So work area C start. So work area C start. So I'm going to get rid of this one they had made for the other vehicle, and they're just going to use the original work area nodes, but I'm going to simply move them. Now, an additional part of cheating is I already had the object change, the visibility active false in here from the other one, because I basically use the same setup. Let's go ahead, when I put these arms on everything, let's go ahead and get into the file so I can show you what's going to go invisible. And it should be the same names. Sometimes I might have done some things differently, so I need to make sure it is still going to be the same. But yeah, if we go into arms, like so, you can see the all highlight. And if I come in and simply change the visibility to none, they're gone. There's also, they're not showing on the model in here, but I have a right side and a left side bundle, which are hoses. And it also has a visible, basically just a coupling I use. So we do want right side and left side bundles to disappear as well. And it is right side bundle, left side bundle, and arms. So that is arms, right side bundle, and left side bundle. So we're going to leave that alone. Now the only thing we're going to do different here is I'm going to do trans active. So let me see if I have another line here. Pretty sure it's transactive. If not, we'll find one from another mod, so I'm not typing in things incorrectly. I am pretty sure that FS22 equipment, I use this guy, transactive, probably spelling it wrong. Maybe it's translation. Let's scroll on down. I always get these callbacks messed up. Translation. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I use shortcut and sometimes I don't. But yeah, it's translation active, and we're going to want the, you're going to have the start, the height, and the width, but also want to make sure we move the AI markers as well. So again, we'll just cheat here and shift home. We'll copy this whole section. Move on down, we'll paste it all in. I said I'm pretty sure that's the same one I use, yeah. So, okay. So we're good. Now for your translation on your work area, make sure you look inside your vehicle, because I'm going to bet that it's going to be a different number. Our work area, C start, is all the way over here. So what I'm going to simply do is just click in here. Another trick, as I showed before, shift control C, and if I come into this guy, control V, it just copies these coordinates, and then I just hit control V to paste them in. So what we're going to do now is, I know I have the width set to 3, and 1.75 is more than that, but I'm going to cheat and make it a little wider, because sometimes it leaves a little when you're specifically using the mower. So you have your X, which, like I said, if it was actually 3, it'd be 1.5. Here's your Y, and then your Z. Now, when you do copy and paste these coordinates, sometimes they add a bunch of numbers. It doesn't do any good to add more than 3 numbers after your digit, so I just go back and 6.45. But your Z is pretty important for the simple fact of you don't want your work area to start up here or way back, so make sure you get this work area correct. In fact, I'm going to move this up into here and see if that looks where it's like it's supposed to be. Yeah, I can see the original work area is probably different, so let's come up and let's see if we can find Pottinger data, vehicles, Pottinger, and I'm probably saying Pottinger incorrectly. 185. We'll just open this guy up, and I actually just copy those translations. Let's go to work area. There's your start. So yeah, they're actually doing a Z of 1.895, which is quite a bit different. So let's control C, see what it looks like when I add it into this guy. Oh yeah, it moves it way up. So, and the reason I did it, I was having some issues with windrowers not picking everything up, so I just put the work area behind it just to be sure that everything was picked up. So let's just take this number, copy it, and we'll move it into here. We'll save that Z, but I'll just change the X a little bit. Again, normally this is only 2.5 wide, but we're going to call it 3 and actually make it a little larger than that. So then we're going to, what is it, 1.895. Let's get rid of these extra numbers, no reason to be there. And then our height, you want to be back a little bit, or like I said, you'll have issues. I wasn't even, when I was first trying to move them like this, I was having issues. I forgot the height has to be back. So it's just going 1.645. So on the height, just go 1.645, like so. And then for your width, it is the same as your start, just has a negative in front of it. So we'll paste that in. So now we have our start, our height, our width, we're good there. And for our AR marker left, that's simply the start. Control C. In fact, we can double check that as well. Let's go to our, oh, that's right, there is no AI for default baler, I added that in, so. But I'm pretty sure that the AI marker right is the same as the width. Yes, so right and width will be the same. In fact, it's actually up by the hitch. That's right. So let's grab this, because your hitch is the start of your working. No, I actually found out talking to myself. Let's use the same as the work, because if you put it up front here, the bale will stop before it gets into the field. So sorry for talking to myself, but the reason I don't edit that out is so that you know what I messed up in the past. If I deleted all my mistakes out, you wouldn't learn from my mistakes, right? So let's go ahead and put that there and put that there. So that's basically saying the hired worker is going to look at the same locations as a start and a width for direction on how or where the work area is, if that's making any sense. So we have the arms disappearing, the right side bundle, the left side bundle, and we're going to move the start height and width to now be narrower, so it's just working on the pickup. And you're also going to say, hey, I want the markers to move as well when this work area is active. It's not going to affect the original because there's no object changes underneath these work areas. It's only going to affect these. Okay, so now we have the work areas done. Let's go back up and see what else it was wanting to do. So we have work area and then we have folding. So on the folding side, we're not going to have, specifically on the round baler, I don't believe anything folds. So let's look at the foldable. We have fold arms. So I'm pretty sure if I control F, yeah, there's nothing that moves. It's just the arms. On the big baler, you actually unfold the baler itself, but yeah, there's nothing to fold on the round baler. I was thinking the wheels might fold, but it does not look like it. So all we actually need to do here is go folding configuration, copy that section, come down here, paste it in, and we're simply going to get rid of everything in between, because it's not even going to have any folding configuration. It's just adding a configuration, if that makes any sense. It's adding a configuration in there, but there's nothing in there telling the game to do anything, so there's not actually going to be any folding involved. If that doesn't make any sense, I apologize, but that's the best way I can explain it. And you can look at the in-game tipper like I was showing. That's how they do the same thing with some fill volumes, is they actually remove the fill volumes by putting configurations in without any kind of data in there. So simply it's going to say, hey, we're still going to use the original folding that I had set up for the windrow system. So that's windrow. For no windrow, it's going to look at folding 2 index. So we scroll down, it's going to go 1, 2, and there's nothing there. So it's not going to have any folding directions. Then we have the vehicle type. That's pretty simple. It's going to look at index 1 for the vehicle type for having the actual windrowers, and then for the vehicle type 2, it's going to go to baler. And I do need to open that up so I can show you what was going on with that. So here's your vehicle types. So what I did is I added in the baler, wrap, windrower. In fact, I almost messed up. We changed that name. So we do need to come in here, min mods, and change the name here as well. We would have had an error. So yeah, it's the baler IMP windrower, and it's adding in the specialization of windrower. The baler wrapper is the original specialization, which I need to go in and almost mess that up as well. Wow, talk about not removing your mistakes, huh? I forgot this isn't simply a baler. I was using this other guy as an example, and it wasn't a wrapper. So yeah, so that has to have the original type as a wrapper. So again, we need to come down to the vehicle types, and
that is going to be a baler wrapper. So, back to what I was saying. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's save this. So it's looking at parent as baler wrapper, so it's specializations. I've got a small tutorial. I haven't done a video because I still have some issues with this. I'm not going to lie. That's why I added some of these other names in here, because vehicle type gets really tricky if you don't have these specializations in order sometimes, or sometimes you're not even using them on the unit you're trying to build. Like the stone picker has to have stuff that's not even used in the vehicle I made, but if it's not in there, it's not going to load the vehicle correctly. So it's basically saying, hey, we want to use the baler wrapper, all of its default specializations, but I wanted to add windrower in. And windrower, there's a lot involved. You have work areas that are windrower, and it even has effects that I added in, which, man, there's a lot of animation on this guy. That's what goes on with those round baler wrappers. So where are we at? Baler wrapper. Yeah, all these effects I added in, and that again comes off the windrower. So if you don't change this work area and it's looking for these effects, you'll start getting all kinds of warnings and errors. So back. So we did the vehicle type. We're good there. I'm thinking correctly here. It's been a while since I did this. That is all we need to do. Yeah, so let's close all this stuff out. I don't want to save any of this. Like so. Close that as well. Let's open the game up and see what kind of issues we have. Confidence, right? So I purposely had this guy in and saved so I could show you what I'm talking about. And see, we do have an element. I already have a work area issue, so let's, before we even load the game up, I saw that red pop up. Let's go log Control F error. The awesome thing about 22 is they actually tell you your line. I probably forgot to close off a configuration, so line number 369. Let's see, I already closed out the folder and everything. So we have min mods and press. And what did I say it was? Line 369. Scroll on down. So work areas, work area configurations. There's work area configuration. Work area configuration. Okay. I forgot to add that bottom line. So we need work area configurations. To close off the configurations. So my bad. Now let's move that one over one. Oh, one more. Alright. Oh, come on. Or down. That should be, there we go. It's in the correct format now, or layout I should say. Alright, so let's close the game out. That should have fixed that section. Now it's confusing because I don't know why my game's freaking out now. It told us 369, but it's basically telling you, hey, there's an issue with this configuration. It's not closed off. So I have work area configurations, start tag, but I didn't have the close. So that was the issue. So let's open up the game. And I just happened to bring up the log. And it's just giving warnings. It doesn't really matter because they're multiplayer stuff. I just kind of like to watch for red, because if there's a red in there, 9.9 times out of 10, it's not even going to load in the game. I'm not seeing any issues so far.
because originally, and these are the warnings I was telling you that we can take care of just by simply doing what I'm going to show you here. So let's tab in. So the reason I put the loading arms as a default or first option, you can put is default in the options as well, is if someone already had this in their game save, I didn't want them to lose their arms as an option. So it is not going to work correctly. It's going to work. Well, I say that, but yeah, there it is. It is working. But as you can see, the effects are missing. It's acting kind of goofy. But I'm going to show you how we can take care of that. But what we want to do first, let's go right into the store. Let's go to the balers and scroll on over. And now we have a windrow system available. So there's your windrow, no windrower, like we said. And if you have anything not showing up here, you need to look at your mod description. Usually it's going to give you a warning. So with no windrower, there's no cost. With a windrower as default, it's showing $1,000 cost. No big deal. And everything is disappearing, as you can see. In fact, we can buy it. I had the bundles that were there when we popped that up. As you can see, the couplers going bye-bye and the hoses as well. So let's go ahead and buy one of each so we can look at them. Oops. Let's get a tractor so we don't have to walk over there. Alright, so let's run over here. Got my camera not moving as fast. So yeah, the nipple or coupler is missing. The hoses are gone. Obviously no arms. And there's collision settings. I don't have collisions on these arms because most people don't want them. But yeah, you can see everything still looks the same on the original. It's just missing on that guy there. So again, the warnings, I am pretty sure. Let's reload. And if you hit the live, it'll keep loading rather than have to close and reopen. It'll keep loading as you open stuff up and the log continues. But we have no errors. That's a good start. Warning, we're going to have the same default warning I was talking about earlier. And we're just having these, it's saying, hey, process windrow area not defined. Please add missing function or specialization. I'm pretty sure that the reason it's doing that is because it's the default. It only loaded it once. If it would have been additional issues, it would have loaded again every time I went into the store and got another unit. So the way to get rid of this is to simply save your game like so. And we're going to quit game. In fact, I'm going to cheat. Come out here. I'm going to close it. And like I said, if you have this selected, once you open the game up again, it's going to start ripping off that log. As you can see. Until it disappears, right? Game save. Start. It's going to make a liar out of me today probably, but I'm not seeing any yellow pop up yet. Looking good so far. Biggest thing is when we get out of here, go into the actual baler. When we start to use it, we actually have windrow effects now. So that tells me that the issue was taken care of. So yeah. Hopefully that made some sense. I know I'm a little out of practice on doing videos. I haven't been available as much, but yep, all we have is our multiplayer warnings and then the standard meta one. So all the warnings are gone. As simple as, hey, it didn't. In fact, if you were to save this game, which I already did, and put in the original mod, it's going to tell you, hey, configurations are now missing. It's going to use default. So the same thing, once you save the game, you would lose those errors or warning. Well, there would be errors, just be warnings. But anyway, I hope I wasn't too confusing. Always feel free to comment, or most of all, join my Discord. I can usually help you a lot quicker than comments on YouTube. I welcome comments on YouTube, but I can respond a lot faster with Discord because it's available right in front of me, rather than have to jump on the YouTube studio and do it that way.
Again, hope it helped, guys. Until next time, have a good one. Thanks for watching.